So this is going to be a different video because it's a review about a show, and I actually found somebody else to review it with me. So this should be an adventure. Let's check out The Equalizer. It's going to be a little bit long. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hiss and foes, welcome to the Culture Casino.
The Equalizer.
Sucks.
A recent show. It does.
Sorry.
Well, there you go. That's a heck of an intro. We have a real problem with this show. We're going to talk about it. As predicted, this show is exactly as I expected. But let's talk about it from beginning to end and start with all of the nuance that, is definitely in this show. So, first and foremost, we have Queen Latifah, otherwise known as Dana Owens, who is taking the title role of this property, The Equalizer. And what did you think about this casting versus the two previous people that were cast as this character?
Well, first, I'm under 65, so I do not remember the original series whatsoever. So my reference, to the Equalizer, is Denzel Washington.
Yeah,
and just for fun, I watched real quick the first fight scene from the Equalizer, because I just finished the first fight scene in the TV show. Right. There's a few differences between the characters. One's a little bit more, I don't want to say quippy, because she attempts to be funny. Like, man, why?
Well, you see, there's a certain thing to be said for smart humor, and in certain context and in certain vehicles, it works very well. And she has a history of making excellent comedic performances in comedic roles. Yeah. So I don't know what they were thinking here, but carry on. So you said you saw the first fight scene.
Yeah, and just like immediately you're like, oh, these two people could not be more different, because like Denzel in that movie was very, very stoic, but not boring like the Mandalorian. Like he's overly stoic, right? But I just got so much more with so much less. With the show, everything is exposition, everything they say, and with him and that, like you just get so much just from his presence in that space. Like he fills it without ever having to let you know that he's there.
Right.
In the TV show with Queen Latifah specifically, she inserts herself forcefully, you know what I mean, into it. Yeah. And I actually really like her friend that owns the bar that can throw darts like what?
Yeah.
I like her in everything.
Everything she's ever been in, she's been great, right?
I'm struggling to like her in this.
Really?
Yeah, and the computer guy, super nerd. I thought he was dead. By the way, the actor. I keep mixing him up with Adam Goldberg. No, not Adam Goldberg. Doesn't matter. No. He's the one that played the sidekick in Prophecy with Christopher Walken. There's that.
Can't even pull that out of my head. So
anyway, yeah. So I was excited to see that he was alive. That was like number one. He could not be more not stereotypical, because that's not how like hackers. I don't think we call them that anymore, but whatever they call them now, like that's not what they're really like. But that's the way they've been portrayed in Hollywood since 1991.
Right.
So he definitely nailed that.
Sure. Except that you pointed out some other things. It borrows extensively from a lot of other properties for certain. I mean, and again, that's kind of the signature for anything developed under CBS, CW, any of these newer products that are trying to be something more with a very obvious agenda. See, to me, Dana Owens, it can be an effective presence in a lot of different things. She, as you mentioned, she does not, in this show, in just the first few minutes of watching it, you're not wrong. She's trying. You can see her trying to be the authority on the screen. The previous actor that played Robert McCall, Mr. Woodward, and Denzel Washington. Both of them, they didn't have that problem. You definitely believe them in the role from the very word go. And there sometimes not speaking is more effective than speaking. And I thought there was far too much dialogue and exposition in this to try to catch up the audience that didn't really need necessarily to catch up. You could have conveyed a lot more with a lot less talky talk.
I felt exactly the same. Yeah, that's exactly what I told my girlfriend too, who will never watch this with me again, because every 30 seconds I'm stopping and just going off on this show. But yeah, it was as if they were trying to give everyone like a 5-season backstory, but give it to you right now. So every time you're introduced to everyone except for her roommate, which I was shocked that they were not together. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay.
See, this is a show that could have benefited from that first scene that was a glimpse in the past, right? And that would have set up her character, like the way she walked away from it. And then, bring us into modern day and start telling the story. Right. An excellent example. There's many examples of that, but an excellent example of another way to go about it is the way they introduced the character in The Blacklist, Red Reddington.
Okay.
Just have him get captured, walk in to the FBI and essentially surrender himself. Yeah. So again, there are a lot of ways to go about it. This wasn't it. And it gets into a lot, I think, of how we view television now. They are literally dumbing this down to the point where you can't miss any elements, and it is filthy with agenda that you can't miss. You can't. Go ahead. I know you want to say it.
Yeah. It's dumbing it down, but it's also making it really difficult, one, to care about any of them, but two, to keep up with what's being, because it's so fast. Like when her and her daughter were going for a dress or whatever, she's like, oh, so you were out of the country all the time, you're the champion of orphans, and just da, and now you're divorced, and now he's getting remarried, and I'm about to go to their dance, and I'm like, oh, how am I supposed to keep up with all of this? Like what?
I can't fault it for going along at that pace, but I thought it was quite interesting that they brought the daughter in and gave her such a prominent role to begin with, but then at the end of the episode, they hit you over the head with it with a baseball bat 3 times.
I have never seen anything more just obvious. Like, you know what I mean? Just blatant. Never.
Yeah. Oh, and spoiler alert, guys. There are going to be spoilers here because we can't do this without doing a little bit of that. Actually, Father Christopher Miller put on Twitter that he's not even going to bother with the new show based on reviews like what I did, previews of like what I did, and so on. Probably a review like this. He's actually watching the old show and the Denzel Washington movies, which I thought both were great.
But I did too.
Yeah. But anyway, so at the very end of the episode, sorry, we're jumping to the end, but she confronts her daughter because her daughter has shoplifted a dress at this point to go to a party when she was supposed to be staying over at a friend's house. This is, by the way, we knew this was all going to happen. This trope has been done a billion times. So at the beginning of the episode, she's going to go out and do something dumb, just like the victim this time of the crime, that was being set up for the crime.
The dumbest smart person I've ever seen on screen.
Yeah, it was really insane. But anyway, but the daughter anyway, she shoplifts a dress. She goes to a party she's not supposed to be at. I guess the grandma finds her, some other character.
They look the same age. Queen Latifah and you're saying her mother, they look the same age.
I don't know, but they obviously live in the same house. So,
but not in the same room, because she said like, I'm going to go to my room. I'm like, okay, so they're not lovers.
Yeah, which I don't care about. Again, none of this stuff makes any sense to me. I'm assuming it's the grandma. So the grandma finds the daughter, brings her home. Mom scolds her, but at the end of the episode, she takes her outside of a juvenile detention facility to point out the girls that she doesn't want to be like, and it's so ham-fisted. And the line that she says at the end, do you remember it? Let's see if you can do it.
Oh, well, I do. No, hold on. But the first line though was, what do all those girls have in common? and I'm thinking they're all wearing blue. The probability of there not being one Hispanic, one white in that group is just insane to me. The line at the end is, the world will always be looking for a way to put a black girl behind over there, something like that, right? Is that a line?
A girl that looks like you.
Okay.
Behind that fence, or something like that. It was just so ham-fisted. I should have redone. Maybe I'll throw the line in here.
To put a young black girl on that side of the fence, don't help them.
Look, it was so ham-fisted and obvious, and the messaging is 100% what you think it is, and it has been touted as a gritty show for the BLM movement or some such.
Gritty.
Quadrants. Yeah, it wasn't gritty at all. And here's the funny thing. There is no way, and Dana did her best, and I noticed she wanted to do her own stunt, but running away from a room that's going to explode, which you knew was going to happen. I mean, he walked in there to gather intel from these guys that are setting up this girl, the victim in the show. She's like a one-person A-team at this point. But anyway, she goes in to this place. For sure that it's rigged to blow up. She makes enough noise that the little thing goes off, and instead of the bomb immediately going off because she made noise, which would make more sense, there's a timer on the bomb. And so
I had to push back on that one. Sorry, I had to push back on that. Okay, the computer is gonna have to boot up. I'm sure it was in sleep mode, so it's not gonna automatically blow up.
Okay. Well, it says noise detected. And then she walks over to the case very purposefully, not in a hurry, opens the case and goes, "Oh, that's a bomb." Closes the case. Instead of just leaving, she closes the case and then bails, right? And you have to believe that she hustled fast enough that, she got a little bit of shrapnel from the exploding bomb that just took out a brick building with steel doors.
Can we talk about this scene a little bit more? One, why was it unlocked? Why is that warehouse unlocked?
Don't know.
I mean, it's not like they didn't have anything in there, because guns, because everywhere, every clue that they had is just up on the wall. It's just everything.
Nomenclature, emblems, everything that you wouldn't leave out in the open unless you were an evil mastermind in an early Bond film. And you were going to tell Bond how you were going to destroy the world. Yeah, it was terrible. As Charles Barkley did, terrible. So, but go ahead.
No, because you can just hear her walking, because he's walking so loudly, right? Just walking right up to all the evidence, shuffling thing. And then, by the way, you know what's great for espionage work? Having the shutter sound on your phone when you take pictures. Who even has that on their phone?
My phone's muted almost all of the time, so it never makes that sound. And then 100%. when I over the course of my job, my actual real job, I take a lot of pictures from time to time, and that phone I obviously always have the volume turned down on too, so you would never hear the shutter sound. And of course, instead of the clippity clop of her walking around the building,
with the door opening,
the camera sets up the bomb. But there's some cool stuff that could have been.
Name it. Oh, it could be. Sorry, I thought you were going to say there was cool stuff in the show. I jumped the ball there.
No. But we settled for the lowest common denominator entertainment. And Dana Owens is one of the smartest people on the planet. She's been successful in everything she's ever done. Any form of production. She does audio production work. She has a production studio. She, for purposes of video stuff, she could be a showrunner on the show. I just don't believe her as the character. And I wouldn't care if they cast the right person for the role. And I don't. It doesn't matter your color, your gender, who you want to put in bed. Sometimes casting is important. When you're a show like this, it needed to be a better casting job, right? So when I saw the announcement come out that this was going to happen, I put it on my calendar to talk about, because I knew what was going to happen. And then a week or so ago, I did a preview of what was going to happen. And now you and I watched it, and what happened?
I mean, I
So
I've never been more frustrated watching something.
So to do a little establishment before we finish this up, because we're only going to take a few more minutes. The show is essentially a person who is retired from the CIA, right? The company, or some three-letter network, right? I mean, agency, right? First of all, you wouldn't be in a field op position in that kind of physical shape. So
how about we start with the fact that the CIA does not have those type of operatives. They on loan, like from SF, and then like they're from SOCOM.
Clandestine services aren't what you think, but that's not even beside the point. Especially when it comes to military intelligence services and things like that. But let's not even go into that. So essentially, this person is what you would think a CIA person would be. They retired for whatever reason. They have an agenda because something happened in their past that was bad. Their life fell apart because they were involved in the job. The father moves on, and finds somebody else. The daughter's a delinquent, obviously, and she doesn't have good command of her life because she's still living it the same way she did as an agent, a field agent, right? So then. Now she essentially puts an ad. The way it finishes is she puts an ad out on the internet anonymously to help people if they've been marginalized or whatever. This first girl is the perfect example of dumb. Don't do these things. Well, you've seen movies and you've seen TV shows. This girl is supposedly smart. Don't leave here means don't leave here. Because, death, imprisonment, whatever would follow you. Bad idea, Jeans. Anyway, it is what it is.
You're going to have to, we'll probably have to do this off air, but you're going to have to explain to me how they deep faked her as the shooter in the video. Like the cops had the video where like it looked like she shot the guy.
Well, they couldn't. That's the computer nerd guy said specifically, this kind of deep fake tech isn't out there, especially at that speed. That's not a wrong statement. It would be very difficult to do that with time and like 10 people working on it. Like I've seen some very good deep fakes, but to do what they did in that period of time is trumped up. It has to be. It's a television show. So they're asking you to suspend your disbelief on so many fronts. This is why you didn't like it, my friend. You're like, well, this thing isn't even enjoyable. How can I suspend my belief on 25 fronts at the same time? By the way, the lady that runs the bar, she's one of my favorite character actresses of all time.
Love her.
And I can't even remember her name in the last thing I saw her in, but she was really, really good. And I was just so disappointed that she's wasted. The computer nerd guy, he's been in a lot of stuff I've seen, going back way into the Friends days. He was the temporary roommate in Friends to Joey, right? So, but he's always been really good. He's always been an offbeat character, dude. And so, but there's potential in some of this, but this show is hot garbage right now. And I always give things 3 episodes. This has 2 to go. And I feel like at that point, I will be able to render a verdict of, this is straight trash, homie. Which is what I did today on Twitter already. So,
I don't know if this is going to surprise you a little bit, but I can just go ahead and tell you what I think. It's just straight trash, homie. Like, save yourself the next 2 episodes.
Okay, but I have to. That's the thing. I make a commitment to something. I give it 3 episodes, and sometimes you'll find a hidden gem. The people around the water cooler will say, "Hey, this thing isn't nearly as bad as I thought originally."
Shit. All right, I'll tell you that. Okay, that happens sometimes. Like with Spartacus, the Stars series, first episode is almost unbearably bad. But then it just picks up and it's a great series. I don't know if it holds up, but it was great. So yeah, okay.
Black Sails didn't impress me in the first episode, but it turned out to be a decent show. Breaking Bad, I was a little iffy on, despite the fact that I like the premise, but the show is gold. So, but there's, like you said, that first episode, maybe that's the bump in the road, right? and you can get past it. Maybe it's just a terrible pilot. There's a lot of weird busted pilot crap that happens. So, but we'll see. I mean, maybe it gets better. Maybe you will be asked to suspend disbelief less often.
Oh, so not every 30 seconds, or when anyone opens their mouth to say anything?
No. It's hard. I agree with you.
I mean, I think their goal is to be to go 2 minutes without saying or doing something absurd. You give me 2 minutes to where I'm not pausing it to yell at the TV screen, we're on the right track.
So here's the thing. Now, when you went into the show, so this is something I'm able to do. I don't know if other people are able to do it, but I'll have an idea of what I'm about to watch already. Unfortunately, because of what I pay attention to and what I'm told and things like that. So I already kind of know what I'm gonna see. Walking into this, did you already have that expectation? Did you insert that expectation that you weren't gonna like it in front of the show before you watched it?
Oh, absolutely. I knew. Like, and I know, like, that sounds bad. Like, oh, you should have went in with an open mind. Absolutely not. No, because I can see the show, and from what I know, because I have a military background, law enforcement background, and I've seen movies, and I can just look at people and be like, oh, okay, so Shaq is definitely going to beat up Kevin Hart if they ever get in a fight. Just as an extreme example, right? So when I see a movie or a show that's trying to tell me, no, like, I know what you're thinking, but just believe us. Like, we're not going to prove it to you, but believe us, she is awesome at everything she does. She knows all the secret society with the symbol thing that she found. You know what secret societies don't have? Symbols. You know why? Because they want to stay a secret.
Hey, skull and bones, dude. Anyway, all right, so we're going to round this out. I'm going to ask you for your rating. We're going to use a rating system of 1 to 5 stars. How's that? Okay?
Okay.
If you're rating this show, for our viewers out there, what's your rating? 1 to 5 stars. Go ahead, Matt.
Ooh, I wish I had a little bit more time to think about that, because I'm trying to find anything to get it to 1 star. Like, I'm trying to think of something in that show that I liked. I'm gonna have to give it a 1. Excellent. Yeah, and that's only because I wouldn't feel good giving it a complete 0, which I think it kind of may be.
Fair enough. And what's interesting is I agree with you. I also give it 1 star. I think that there could have been a lot in the show, and I think there were 2 moments that were interesting. I liked the setup reveal at the end when they catch the bad guy.
I hated it.
And I liked the setup of the 2 spies. Well, I didn't like it because it was believable, but I thought the moment was good. You know what I mean? That's the problem. I'm trying to find anything just like you are, so it earns a star, right? And I'm going to watch 2 more episodes, and if you watch 2 more episodes...
I mean, yeah, I did it already once.
We could do it on your channel, and then you could go crazy.
Yeah, it'll be a different review if it's on my channel.
Anyway, thank you all for joining us today. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully this is satisfying a lot of Wednesday video viewing for most of you out there. Be sure to, if you haven't already, go over and support Drunk 3PO's charity stream. That's absolutely just all about fighting human trafficking in not just the United States, but around the world, and especially young people, because children are the ones that are suffering the most, believe it or not, in this day and age, which is awful. So check that out. The description will be down below. It'll be down in the description below there, if I can speak. And until then, I'll say what I always say. Be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And
do not watch this. Sorry.
And until next time, bye.
Do not watch this show. That's all I was going to say. I do not recommend it.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.